Right, we're back on the 67 Heel channel on YouTube with me, Hamish. We've got another transfer video for you today. Before we get on to the player in question, who is Sampdoria's Omar Colley, I'll put out my usual shout for you. If you've not yet managed to subscribe to the channel, we would massively appreciate you taking a few seconds, only a few seconds out of your day, pause the video, go onto the YouTube channel, you'll already be there, click subscribe, and if you even want to go a step further, click the alarm bell as well. That means that you'll get a notification every time we post a new video, and at the moment, that is every single day. Right, transfer time. We've been going heavy on the transfer videos lately. Over the weekend, we had videos on the likes of Shane Duffy. We also had one on a player we missed out on last summer, Burger Melling. We had special guests who are in the know with both of those videos. Check them out if you've not yet managed. Also a good one went out about Jackie McNamara on his Scotland days. We'll link them up above there, and if you want to go and check them out, that would really be appreciated. But for now, as I said, we're touching on Sampdoria defender Omar Colley and pondering whether Celtic could break their transfer record to land him this summer. Right, Omar Colley is a 27-year-old centre-back who plays for Serie A side Sampdoria. This may be the wrong way to look at it, but quite a simple way I'm looking at it is that he's almost a Serie A version of Christopher Julian. He's got the same credentials in terms of having played a similar amount of games in one of the top leagues in Europe. Same could be said about Shane Duffy as well. And yeah, he's a player that we've been linked with. Sky Sports were the ones last week who really got people talking, because the minute it comes from Sky Sports, people think there is a real interest there, although they were a couple of weeks after the original reports, I think from Tutto Mercato Web. I don't know if I've said that correct, but they're quite a well-known Italian website who had linked us with a move for Colley. Neil Lennon was actually asked whether we'd put in a bid for the player, as had been reported in his homeland in Italy. After, I think it was the Motherwell game, Lennon said that he could say for sure we hadn't bid for him yet, although there wasn't any other further chat if we're interested in him or not. Now, Colley is an interesting player. He's had a very tough year so far. He's actually a COVID survivor. He was one of the many, I think 5 or 6 Sampdoria personnel who were diagnosed positive for COVID-19 back in March, just prior to the suspension of football across the continent. Thankfully, he overcame it, he got better, and he even got to play in, I think, 9 out of Sampdoria's last 12 Serie A games once football returned. So he's over it, he's immune to COVID, and who wouldn't want a COVID survivor amongst their ranks? Whether or not we go for him is a different question. Now, as the title to this video suggests, if we're going to bring in Omar Colley this summer, I think personally that it will have to be for a Celtic club record. Now, what is the Celtic current record? It is £9 million that we paid for our talisman Odsonne Edouard back in 2018. We have almost scaled those heights again just last summer when we brought in the aforementioned Christopher Julian from Toulouse. That was around £7 million that he cost. And all the chat we're hearing about Colley, the Sky Sports report said that he was rated or valued at £10 million, and some comments from the Sampdoria president, who goes by the name of Massimo Ferrero, suggests that they will be looking to play hardball over a fee for Colley. Now, Ferrero likened Colley to Napoli's Kalidou Koulibaly, who's one of the most sought after defenders in Europe, and is expected to go for a vast amount of money this summer. So the very fact that Ferrero has likened Colley to Koulibaly suggests that they're looking for a fair bit of money. But how much money is too much money for Celtic? As I say, we've spent £9 million on Edouard 2 years ago. We paid £7 million for a centre-back in Christopher Julian this time last year. Already this summer window, we've forked out the guts of £15 million on David Turnbull, Albion Ayeti, Vasilis Barkas, and of course the loans of Shane Duffy and Mohamed El Yunusi. Those wouldn't have been cheap either. So Celtic are clearly willing to spend the money this summer, but is paying that amount, 10 million or even maybe more, for a centre-back at the age of 27 realistic? Well, I think it's a tough one to weigh up. A lot of it for me will depend on what happens with a certain other centre-back who's currently at the club. Now that player is of course Christopher Iyer. If we look at the centre-backs that we currently have as part of our squad, we've got Iyer, we've got Julian, we've now got Shane Duffy, thank God. We've also got the Israeli duo near Beaton, who played really well at Hampden the other night, by the way, and also Hatem El Hamed, who can play at centre-back, although I would argue neither Beaton nor El Hamed are proper centre-backs. El Hamed's a right-back, and I know Beaton never plays in midfield anymore, but he wasn't exactly signed as a centre-back, so you could argue we've still only got three proper Celtic-ready centre-backs, although Stephen Welsh may have something to say about that. He's, of course, still at the club as well. Now, I think the chances of us signing Colley as things stand at the moment are minute. However, the big sting in the tail may be that if Christopher Iyer moves on with, I don't know what a realistic price for him would be, maybe 15 million, maybe even 20 million. Is that pushing it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you would value Iyer. But if he was to move on, then I think we then have an opportunity to bring in a player like Colley. First of all, we've got the space because we clearly need a defender, having already lost Jozo Simunovic this summer. If you look at Duffy as Simunovic's replacement, in terms of personnel, then if Iyer was to go, we'd then need to bring in a centre-back who could well be Colley. Of course, we'd then have the licence to spend £10 million in Colley if we'd brought in 15 million, say, for Christopher Iyer. So the opportunity exists if Iyer goes, but I don't see Celtic signing Colley as things stand. It's also interesting, I think, to look at the profile of Colley and of several of the other players we've signed this summer. You could argue that every single player, all five of them that we've signed this summer, are ready-made players that can go into the first team. David Turnbull may be the only one you would look at as a project, a player for the future, but I think Turnbull can even make an impact right now. You compare that to last summer and January, and even the January prior to that under Brendan Rodgers, when we've brought in the likes of Vakun Bayo, Marian Shved, Ismail Asoro and Patrick Klimala, players who were, by very definition, project signings. So I think you've seen a change in the profile of player the club are going for. You look at Julian, you look at Ayeti, you look at Vasilis Barkas, even El Yunusi, Duffy. These are all players who are a little bit older. They're probably all of them between like 25 to 29 kind of age bracket. Majority of them have got experience in a good league. They've either got experience in a Ligue 1 or an English Premier League, or on the flip side, they've got experience of winning trophies. So Barkas has won the Greek title with Athens. El Yunusi and Ayeti have won their domestic titles in Switzerland, and El Yunusi's obviously won one in Norway as well. So these are all players who have got experience, and I think it's reassuring to see the club are very much looking at immediate success, and that's why moves for the likes of Colley seem to fit. I get the impression this is a goer and he's a player the club are linked with and interested with, rather than just being a random name that the media are throwing out there. So I think it's one to watch. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of information on Colley. He's 6'3", so he's a big defender. As I say, he's 27 years old. He's played a lot of games for Sampdoria over the last few years, and I think it's the kind of player we should be going for. I know Christopher Julian comes in for a bit of criticism when he comes up on plastic pitches against some strikers, but I think in general, especially in European games and in Glasgow derbies, Julian has proven to be a really good player, and I think a signing like Colley would be a great way to replace Christopher Iyer if he is to go. So keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be massively surprised if Iyer moves on, and if he does, don't be too surprised if Celtic go for Omar Colley to replace him.